And away we go. Hello and welcome to another edition of the College Football Mafia Network Big Freaking Friday show. If you can't tell, I'm a little adrenaline and news hopped up tonight. So hope everybody's got their energy packs to go to your Coke Zero, whatever you need to do to juice up on caffeine or any other stimulants you might have in the house. Stimulants. Be safe. And buckle up. We're going to have 2 hours and it's going to be wall to wall. We'll get to as many of the member and your comments and questions at the end. But I don't even know how we're going to get to that because there's so much news that we're going to break down and discuss for you. That's what we're going to do tonight on this show. We normally party. We want to talk college football playoff. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But, it's just been a news dump Friday. It's actually been about 36 hours of news that we want to really hammer tonight. So we appreciate everybody being here. A lot of people are watching on Twitter right now. Anybody that's currently watching on Twitter wants to jump over to our YouTube channel. Just look up for College Football Mafia Network, and our channel will pop right up. And make sure you subscribe and do all the fun stuff. Follow us on Twitter, turn on your notifications, and everything else that goes with that. All right, I've got a prize for everybody. I want to start off the show with something that is a little, joyful, maybe. This might be a good way to describe what happened today between the NCAA and the federal government. Here we go. Where's my link? Here we go.
Oh, shit. No.
And if you missed it the first time, I'll watch it 2 more times for you.
Oh, shit. No.
So everybody knows this is the longest-lived, most driven F40, probably the most collectible in the world. And that's what happened. And that's how you could describe the last 36 hours of college football, college sports news, and everything that goes with it in politics. So I hope that gives you an idea of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Time. I gotta wonder, what's that guy thinking that's in the background watching that on his car? Could you imagine?
I want to know what the language is because it's just like,
Well, it's in England, so it could be anything. 180 languages they speak there or something like that. So I think that is really, really crazy. Anyway, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Lots of big news. We do have the college football playoff we want to talk about, especially for Moen, since he's here in the room. But before we get started, I'm just going to give you guys a chance to dump. Ute, first one in. I know you got a hard stop in an hour. What are some of your thoughts going into this weekend?
Man, college football is spinning right now, seriously, with the Justice Department. Everything from House settlement, also with Title IX. Like, I don't remember a time where there's been so much craziness, instability, up and down in college football, college sports in general.
Right.
So I am just trying to pay attention to it all. Where's it going to freaking land? We're going to talk about it during this live show. We're going to get deep into that and everything. This is crazy. It's going to impact your college football team, college basketball team, your school. You got to know about it. So excited to have that discussion. Of course, our boy Moen with a big game coming up for Ohio State on Monday night.
Yeah, and let's go to that, Moen. Why don't you bring up what our picks were and what everybody thought about going into this game?
Well, first, let me just say this. I feel like the last 36 hours, you guys remember the Billy Joel song, We Didn't Start the Fire?
Yes, of course.
I feel like that. Title IX blowing up, Department of Justice stepping in, Portal
There's
disappeared.
The next video. I want to see that.
It's it's been insane. Oh, and by the way, we have our national championship game on Monday.
Oh, by the way. Monday night.
Monday night at 7:30.
All right, so go right into it. Bring up the tile. Let's talk about it.
So here we go. Notre Dame, 8.5-point spread against Ohio State. Ohio State is favored. This was clearly difficult for everybody to pick because I asked everybody to pick.
5 seconds.
And after chasing people down all season to get their picks, everybody responded instantly with their pick in this game. So everybody's picking Ohio State to win, and they're picking them to cover the spread as well. So I don't know what more to say. I mean, everybody picked Ohio State. There was not a one who picked
Does
Notre
that
Dame.
make you nervous?
I am more nervous about the spread than
Right.
I don't know. Listen, Notre Dame's been talking a lot of crap, and I think it's a very stupid thing to do. I think it's better to keep your mouth shut instead of giving people bulletin board material. But telling
Moan, what have they been saying? What kind of crap have they been talking? Give everybody a
tell
heads
us.
up.
we're going to play man coverage because that's what we do, and we think we're going to take care. We're going to be able to handle them. I mean, you tell that to Jeremiah Smith. Listen, man coverage against Jeremiah Smith, Amika Ibuka, Carnell Tate, G. Scott.
Yeah. Oh, by
His
the way,
running
Ohio
backs.
State does use its wide receivers. Hello, Penn State.
Yeah, so I'm confident. I think Ohio State's going to win it. I did take them to cover, and I took the over. So
the 8.5, I was pausing that's more than the touchdown. So it does make you think a little bit. But I think this is one of those situations where Notre Dame's had a fantastic run. Don't want to take anything away from where they got to get here. It's the first time we've ever played this many games to get to a championship, and they lasted to the very end. They have nothing to hang their head if they end up losing this game. And then there's always that lady luck, if you want to call it luck of the Irish, that can kick in. So I think it's just something we have to, put out there. I mean, is it impossible? I don't think it's impossible. I will say that.
No, it's not impossible. Notre Dame is in the final two. They've won multiple playoff games. They are a very elite team. The thing is, Ohio State has all the momentum. They're a hot football team. They're an extremely talented football team. It just seems like they're the team of destiny. And it seems like they're going to get up on Notre Dame early in this football game and really put it to the Irish. But it's been a great run for Notre Dame, and they should celebrate the season. It's been fantastic. They're not out of it, though. I mean, they've still got a good shot, right? Can you stop the momentum? Don't get behind early.
Yeah, they've got a chance. Marcus Freeman is a fantastic coach. He's done awesome for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They gave him an extension this year. I think maybe he needs a raise on top of that extension. You got to remember, a lot of Irish fans were calling for his heads after the Northern Illinois loss.
Hello, Ryan Day. I mean,
and Ryan Day as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean,
right.
This is a redemption run for both these coaches.
I agree.
But Lou Holtz, of course, said that Notre Dame would only lose in order to help Ryan Day keep his job.
You've got to be kidding me.
Of course he would say that.
No, he said that. He said it with a lot more spit, but basically that. And he was only going to watch the game from his home, but now he has to drag his bones to go see the game. So yes, the Lou Holtz Ryan Day feud continues.
Unbelievable.
I don't want to cut you short, Moen, but we do have a very short window for the show tonight. So all I can say is good luck to Ohio State. And I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it will be competitive.
I think it'll be a blowout.
Okay. Well, you can do that. You're wearing the tag. Let's get to a couple comments here right out the bat. Just we got people in the house already participating. Stormy Cyclone, a member, long-standing member, OG, I think we call it this time. $5 super chat. Thank you, Stormy, for everything you do for us. Informative shows like this keep me going. And if you're new to the show, if you're watching this on Twitter, you've never seen us before, you follow me, Big 12 Mafia, and you say, hey, what is this show popped up on my feed? Look, this is what we do. During the season, we're not really heavy into the game analytics and all that stuff, and maybe we're a little mellow when it comes to the season. We make hay in the offseason. So for the next 6 months, join us. Join us on this ride that's going to be just insane news every day talking about college sports, and that's what we do. And Stormy Cyclone, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I also want to get to Harry Austin, who's a member for 5 months. Thank you, Harry. Can we give him a sounder quick moment?
We're going to give them both sounders. Hold on a second.
I love it.
That was legitness. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook.
I said.
Let
him cook.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Harry. 5 months. We appreciate it, brother. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you. It's impossible. Notre Dame is going to get rolled. So Harry spent his special comment to say that Notre Dame's going to get rolled. So we'll have to see. I want a good game. That's all I can say. After this much buildup, 10 days between games, you got to expect that, I just hope it's good. That's all I can say. I'm buckling up. I'm getting the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day special chip dip, and yeah, we'll have a good time.
Dude, guys, we've got a football binger all weekend long. We're all NFL fans too. You're an NFL fan out there. So NFL games, then Monday night, the big enchilada. And Ohio State, I think, does get it done big, guys.
Let's go. Joe Z checking in. Also another valuable member for 5 months. Thank you, Joe. Do you want to give him a quick sound of their moment?
I am the milkman.
I love it.
Milk is delicious.
That's an inside joke if you're new to the channel. Ute talks about milking in college football realignment. That's an inside joke. If you follow us going forward, come to our shows, you'll hear us talk about milking quite a bit.
Hey, speaking of milking, do you mind if we do a little teaser for our members here?
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right, guys. So Pac-12 expansion is getting a lot of chatter right now. Pac-12 expansion, top candidates. Texas State's been mentioned. Sac State's been mentioned. Obviously, the American candidates.
Yep.
So in the most recent members-only video that's going to be coming out this weekend, taking a look at the top 6 candidates based on like the target list and putting a model to see who's the best one. And speaking of milking, I want to give you a little teaser, just a little bit of taste of what to expect this weekend in this realignment video. And as you can see right here, the milking. So if you threw in Tulane, Boise State, Memphis, USF, UNLV, Texas State, and Sac State, here is what the milking would look like. Here's your average viewership for all the Pac-12 schools that are moving over and the target realignment candidates here. Nobody's averaging 1 million, but Oregon State's very close at really 999,000. But you're getting down and you're looking at schools like Sac State that didn't have any Nielsen-rated games, of course, because they're FCS in the Big Sky. Texas State averaging around, 50K viewers per game. Like not really big viewership for some of these schools. Makes sense. They're in the Sun Belt, smaller conferences and everything. But when you bundle this all together and everything, it's going to spit out who's the best candidate here out of these 6 target schools. And the targets that we're looking at are Tulane, USF, Memphis, UNLV, Texas State, Sac State. There's a clear 2 that are winners here, guys. It's very obvious based on this model and everything. Members, look out for this video this weekend.
I love it. And if you're new to the channel, again, watching on Twitter, become a member by going to the YouTube page or hitting that little $ if you're watching on your computer, where you can do a super chat. Become a member, and you have access to our catalog. And I mean, it is an absolute catalog of member videos. I don't even have time to go through all these. We have too many. But this one, Big 12 viewership analysis, the great milking of 2024, that kind of tells you where the chips are falling right now in viewership for the Big 12, and that matters. Viewership follows money, and or money follows viewership. I don't know where that goes. But there's one more video coming. That's what you was just previewing. So consider becoming a new member of the College Football Mafia Network. Jump over to the webpage, sign up, subscribe. And watch our videos. They are the best videos. Still, somebody tell me how somebody else's videos are better than ours. I haven't seen one yet. We've been doing this 2 years. Nobody's shown me a better, slicker video. This is the best we do. Yeah, we're small, but we're growing, baby. And this is where we're at. So anyways, that's where we're coming from. That's where we're at. Okay, let me get to a couple more super chats. Actually, they're coming at us right now. Ooh. Joe Z, member for 5 months. Will private equity outbid ESPN when the next CFP contract is up?
Dang, that is a question right there. That is the big question. Private equity, if they get a hold of the media rights, say for the Big 12, they would have to have access to the media rights, and they wouldn't necessarily distribute the games themselves. Like a private equity company wouldn't do that, but they'd find different avenues. They'd sub-license the games to an ESPN, to a TNT, Fox, etc., maybe a streamer, and they'd try to siphon that out to get more revenue for the Big 12. That's how private equity would approach media rights.
There was a number thrown out with that realignment for the first wave of realignment ideas for super leagues. And that one that I believe had 70 teams had a $13 billion dollar sign attached to that. That's insane money. And everybody would benefit, not just the SEC, the Big Ten, or all the power conferences for that matter. So yeah, it's coming, everybody. Private equity is not, until it's ruled out explicitly, it is on the horizon, and we will continue to talk about that. Cleveland Rocks, another valuable member of the Mafia family, checking in with the $10 super chat. Hope all is well with everyone. Let's hope the Buckeyes win on Monday. Do you think Utah will go independent? Please explain how the new Title IX ruling by Supreme Court will affect NIL. I don't have that queued up, but we can get to it. Why don't you answer that question first?
Do you think Utah will go independent and leave the Big 12 conference? That's a hard no. In fact, it's such a no, and it'd be such a foolish decision that I don't even know during that span of independence if I could even root for Utah football. It'd be so stupid and suicidal to go independent. Independence is not an option for Utah. It's only an option for Notre Dame, who is a unique scenario, and maybe Ohio State if they wanted to do it. Utah has a great brand, but not a strong enough brand to be independent. It would be suicide for the athletic department. No. Utah's not leaving the Big 12. That's it.
All right. Very good.
In other words, what you is saying is,
Oh, hell no.
That's good. I've got another super chat from Rock and Rap, but since we're diving into this, let's just take this out of order right now. So these are a couple. I'm going to be doing everything on X tonight. This is the easiest way to get these headlines out, and I'm not going to type up a bunch of crap because these people did it for me. I want to give credit to all these creators. I'll try to copy as many of these shortcuts in as I can. If I miss one, I apologize. But this first one is one of the first tweets I saw about this news about Title IX. I'll read the headline, and here's the link. I apologize. See, I'm already doing it. So much to do, so little time. All right, there we go. There's the link. News. So this broke last night. This actually was yesterday afternoon. Department of Education has penned a letter obtained by, I believe that's Front Office Sports, with more details on how Title IX could apply to the House revenue share. Payments themselves don't have to be equal, but total financial assistance offered to players, including revenue share, must be proportionate. So the original reports coming out were like, wow, it's going to blow everything up. They're going to go in and have to redo all these contracts. They've already started to break out. 70, 80% of this money going to football, the balance going to basketball, and then a little to the Olympic and women's sports. And that everybody threw up their hands and, started, wailing and gnashing at teeth. Right after that, we didn't have any follow-up news for a minute. And then we had a couple of things that popped up today. First, this one from Winter Sports, Winter Online. Mitt Winter, who is a must follow. If you don't already follow Mitt Winter, you are losing out on news as it relates to all of college sports. Following on that report from yesterday, today, important points on the Department of Education's Title IX NIL fact sheet. It doesn't have the force of law and isn't binding, 1. 2, it's also nonsensical, meaning how do you give equal money when women bring in, what's the percentage for women's sports, just off the top of your head, 3%, 2%?
Are you talking about revenue for an athletic department?
Yeah. 1%, it can't be very high, right?
It'd be 1 to 10%, at 10 at the very most, and probably 1 to 5%.
Okay, I think the one I saw from Ohio State, whoever put out the most recent payment schedule, I believe it was 75 football, 20 or 25 basketball. What is that? No, 20 basketball, and then split out the other 2 with Olympic sports and women's sports.
It's really women's basketball. Women's basketball is the only thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
And let's be honest, women's basketball is actually more popular than men's baseball.
Right.
So it's really the third most popular college sport behind men's basketball. It's college football, men's basketball, women's basketball. So that's really where all the revenue is being generated from.
The last statement here, I think, is probably the most telling. And finally, even if it was the law, and again, it's just guidance. This is guidance, everybody. Don't freak out about Title IX. It's not law. It's not some pen to paper like an executive order from the president, anything like that. This is guidance, okay? Even if it was the law, it would just lead to workarounds. And we know how good college sports is doing workarounds, have been for 70 years. It wouldn't change now. They would just maybe call it something else. Something else I want to bring up, then I want to open it up to you guys really quick. Third-party NIL has nothing to do with Title IX. Third-party NIL is like paying an advertiser. It's like paying somebody to go rep the Fuller brush guy that goes door to door selling Fuller brushes. It has nothing to do with Title IX. So third-party Title IX, don't associate at all. So there's the equity there is not even on, it's like bifurcated. So we need to keep these things in mind. So when you see these flash headlines that we've gotten in the last 24, 36 hours, take a second, take a beat, and think about it before you just start retweeting and reacting. And because that's where we're at now, is that we're in this instantaneous reporting, and nobody takes the time to watch a show like ours to break it all down. You guys want to add anything to what I've said?
Well, that's the issue at hand there, is like third-party collectives. Is the fund Title IX related? I mean, it should be split 50-50. That is the conversation. And while I do agree with you, Nate, not everybody does. And they think that anything college related, if you're affiliated with the university, then you should split the money. That's going to be contested. I don't think that's going to hold up or anything, because I do agree with you. There is true revenue generating sports, and those deserve to be compensated more handsomely at a higher level than other sports. That's just a fact of the matter and stuff. This has nothing to do with scholarship allocation. This has nothing to do with the programs existing. This has to do with extra money that's coming in, stuff for your name, image, likeness. But again, that's where the battleground is going to be. It's going to be in that place.
And let's clear out the terms too. Revenue sharing is the $20.5 million. That number might even go away, by the way. But right now, the guidance is $20.5 million paid by the school. That's called revenue sharing. NIL, right? So these terms matter, everybody. I agree with you, right? Nothing's settled until it's settled. But I've read enough of these articles from these legal guys that say that, look, it's just a matter of time. It's not when, it's if. Sorry, not if, it's when. Sorry. Bad. Moen, you want anything to that?
Yeah, great points. Again, you got to also remember that the schools are trying to bring NIL in-house. This would definitely be something that would make them keep it out of house.
Right, which is what I think everybody should be doing that.
Yes, and I think Mitt Winter summed it up pretty much. There would be a workaround. If this had any chance of ever being a law, which it doesn't, this is an outgoing administration's Department of Education.
Yeah, let's touch on that really quick, Moen, would you? Explain to everybody why the next 4 days even matter.
You're going to see them put all kinds of stuff out. And this isn't one side or the other. Both sides do this. You'll see them rush to appoint judges. They put out all these decisions that really don't have any staying power.
Sorry to clear it up. That's because Trump's taking over. I just want to make clear.
Any president, any administration change. You've already had senators come out and say that's not going to happen.
Right.
But I do want to use this, since we missed somebody with a sounder workaround.
Student athlete. Oh, that is brilliant, sir.
Student athlete. There's an oxymoron right there. All right. This is one that I know is near and dear to Moen's heart, so I'm going to touch on it next. Let's talk about transfers. Transfer portal. Signing NIL contracts. Let's just touch on this for a second. So let me see which tab I'm on. I've got too many tabs to do. Is it this one or is it this one? No, we'll just go with this report. Wisconsin DB Xavier Lucas. I want to give I want to give them credit because that's what we do around here. Okay. Wisconsin DB Xavier Lucas, who had signed a revenue share deal. Revenue share, okay, that's from the school. With the program, is transferring to Miami. Originally, it was declined by Wisconsin. They said, nope, you signed a contract with us, you are stuck. He sued, and this is where it gets fun. University of Wisconsin refused to enter him in the portal, and the precedent-setting move may spark landmark legal action among schools. So he is on his way to where, of all places,
Miami.
Which is, yeah, you could have said Miami, you could have said Ohio State, and everybody would have just gone, what do you expect? Anyways, Moen, tell everybody why this is sort of, we knew this was coming, right? Nobody was shocked about this.
Yeah, this is basically going to put to the test the idea of a transfer portal.
Like, why have a transfer portal at all?
There will not be a transfer portal. There will be no rules and regulations. These kids can up and go whenever they damn well please. If they want to jump in, first week of the year, somebody comes with a $4 million paycheck and they want to leave to another school, they're just going to leave to another school. It essentially just blows up the entire portal system.
Yeah.
It makes a daily transfer portal, right?
Yeah.
It has no strings attached.
There is no portal.
So again, how can you sign a contract? Look, these are all broken. No contracts, no collective bargaining, none. This stuff is just broken, people. Let's get into this.
Let's quit messing around. Like, here's the big idea here. This is pro sports. We're talking about semi-pro sports. It's not college sports anymore.
Right.
The ball is being missed here. We need to call it semi-pro, structure like a pro league, because it's acting and behaving like a pro league, except we're trying to pussyfoot around it and take dances around it and everything. It's causing massive messes, guys. Like, this is crazy stuff we're talking about. Like,
absolutely,
this stuff is, why is this even a discussion? Like, what's going on out there in college football? This has got to be the messiest dang sport in the world.
If anybody knows anything about history, and I'm a history nut, I know Moen is a little bit too. I don't know about you, but anything about history, Watergate, we learned a couple things about Watergate. And one of those things is the first one to report it generally carries the story. The next thing is, hey, once you put it out there, it's settled. People just make up their minds immediately. So there's this rush to judgment. Let's hurry and get these things out, which is why today it was just a Gatling gun. Fire, fire, fire after all these reports all day long from everybody. Mitt Winter, Ross Dellinger, Amanda Kristovich. I'm not going to even be able to say them all. All right, let me read this next one from Mitt. This sort of follows on what we were just talking about. And Moen was laughing about. The NCAA has admitted athletes don't have to enter the transfer portal before transferring. The current portal rules only prohibit coaches from communicating with athletes at other schools unless they are in the portal. Tampering, that's another thing going away, everybody. And even that may violate antitrust law. So, again, we just have another unenforceable, just silly, arbitrary rule. And right now, if you're Charlie Baker, how many fingers and toes do you have to put to stop the water coming in on your boat? How many holes are in that boat? 5,000 maybe?
5,000.
That thing is sinking.
Here's the best part. You got to look at the Ross Dellinger quoted tweet. The NCAA gave a statement. NCAA rules do not prevent a student from
Sorry. I just wanted to make sure we gave him credit. Go ahead.
NCAA rules do not prevent a student athlete from unenrolling from an institution, enrolling at a new institution, and competing immediately. There's no portal. I mean, literally, the way this reads, if Ohio State wanted to go out there and sign like 4 or 5 stars to help them play in the national championship game.
I just say this one more time. If you missed it at the beginning, this is college football. This is college sports and government oversight, everybody. Never been a more apropos display.
So, Moen, based on these rules, can't you, as Ohio State folks,
what rules?
At Riley Leonard to transfer today
no
and move over to Ohio State?
There's no rules. This is the
just throw the bag and stop in front of the national
said,
championship game. Like you could do it, right? Based on those rules, just hey, Riley Leonard will pay $20 million to come to Ohio State today.
I guess there's no more rules. I don't even know why they have referees on the field.
I posted the link to the Ferrari F40 story, by the way. I forgot to do that at the beginning of the show. If you want to watch that on replay, like I've got on this little screen on my monitor right now, I'm just watching that wreck go over and over the whole show. Please go to the creator, give him some clicks, maybe subscribe. I don't know. All right, let's take a second. Let's take a beat. We've talked about a lot of stuff, and I know we only have a half hour left with you, so let's get to some super chats. Rock and Rant, $1.99 super chat. Partner in crime here, subscriber in chief, our techno whiz, if I want to call it anything more, on the social media piece, saying $1.99 super chat. Wait, I thought everything was bigger in Texas. What's that joke to? Did I miss the joke? What's that, Moen?
I'm not following you, Rock. Sorry, my man.
Moen, well, it was a long time ago, so.
Well, I had an ex-girlfriend from Texas, and I can confirm. So,
if you clarify that without having to pay for it, Rock, we'll flag it and I'll bring it up. I'm sorry, that's out of context. I'm taking them out of order. I appreciate the super chat though, and everything you do for us always. We don't take you for granted. Earl Carr, BYU member in chief, 18 months. Ute, look at this guy. So Earl Carr, I think my parents were our first subscribers. Earl might be 2 or 3 on that list.
Thank you.
I can't remember, but anyways, 18 months, Earl. Thank you so much for everything you do for us, your loyalty, how you go out there and talk about us on Twitter and everything else. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You want to give him a big? How about give him a good super chat? You know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, the remix.
They've been sucking you and sucking you. They've been sucking you,
Yes.
sucking you, and sucking you.
So we're talking about sucking here. That's what we're talking about. The Milky.
You're sick of it. I get
These
it.
are inside
They've been
jokes. You have to
sucking
become
you,
members
sucking
to
you,
find
sucking
out about.
you. They've been sucking you,
I love
sucking
it.
you, and sucking you. They've been sucking
Earl
you,
Carr,
sucking
you're a
you,
stud.
sucking
Thank you so much.
And you're sick of it. I get it.
Question for Moen. Should Ohio State win Monday, do you still want Ryan Day fired?
No, and I've apologized to Ryan Day on this network 3 or 4 times now. So
There we go.
if he wins, he can stay.
If he wins.
If he wins, he can stay.
No higher standard. Okay. All right. Very good. Thanks, Earl. We appreciate your comment and obviously your loyalty. It means so much to us. Becky Go Huskies, another contributor to our College Football Mafia Network. Helps with the Big Ten Mafia show and also going to be doing some short form videos for us, which will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to those. $5 super chat, sending to help Moen get 8 Atlanta tickets, $4,000 or 10-team parlay. Have you done a 10-team parlay?
Well, there's not 10 teams
How
left
can you
in
do
college
10?
football.
You can't do 10-team, but you can do 10 events.
10,
right?
You can do a 10-game parlay.
But what games? Baseball? I mean, what?
You could mix and match if you really wanted to. I mean,
Okay.
if you want to get
Ohio
crazy.
State
But
basketball.
listen, I've got
That's a
Ohio
lot.
State. I got Ohio State with the points on the money line and the over.
There you go. A man who sticks with his word
And,
right there, calls it and sticks with it.
And I will probably be going to campus on Monday night. So
Oh, good for you. That'll be fun. That'll be
Nice,
exciting
Mom.
for you. Earl Carr again with another $10 super chat. Thank you, Earl, so much. Hey, guys, what are your thoughts on reports of the Big 12 leaving ESPN due to the bias towards the SEC and Big 10, et cetera? I've only heard little bits and pieces. I don't know how they leave them. They've got a contract through 2030-31, so I don't know what leave them would look like. I guess they could negotiate something. Do you guys have any? I don't want to spread rumors. I've only heard whispers.
Yeah, this is the speculation zone, I think, right here. So
Okay.
This is just opinion. But you got to figure out a way to make yourself more valuable as a conference as a whole, so you
Right.
can get more offers at the next TV negotiation with a TNT or maybe a CBS or Fox, go all in with Fox.
Right.
But you have to figure out a way to be competitive in football and win playoff games and basketball to make yourself more valuable than you are today, or else you have to realign conference realignment and add value that way too to make yourself more attractive in the marketplace. Because ESPN's one of the big boys now, and like to leave them, you're going to have to find somebody else, a new partner. Private equity might be able to help you. If you do a deal with private equity, they could make you more valuable doing some levers, pulling some levers and everything. But at the end of the day, it's going to be all about winning and brand building. That's how you get away from the ESPN debacle here, because they're not going to focus on the Big 12. They're going to focus on SEC. They kiss SEC's butt for everything. We're all sick of it.
Yep.
I'm absolutely sick of it. I want another partner that's going to focus on Big 12 content that I can watch and stuff. Guys, I'll be honest. I don't even like watching ESPN at all. But I don't even want to give it.
It's been really hard to watch this year.
I don't even want to watch anything unless there's like a big time game on there. I don't want to hear the personalities. I don't want to hear all that garbage. I don't want to hear Kirk Herbstreit. I don't want to hear anything. It's all SEC related. It's a junk.
Yeah.
It's BS.
And ESPN production value has gone down demonstrably with ESPN Plus. I mean, really bad. Last year, I watched basketball and football on ESPN Plus, and nobody's watching. But my broadcasts were always really good. You've watched them this year through football and the first part of basketball, and they're terrible broadcasts. Unless you happen to be watching a BYU broadcast, because they do all the production, which is frankly better than ESPN's anyway.
ESPN Plus is the worst broadcast I've ever freaking seen, dude. It's
bad.
analogous to the old Mountain Channel.
I was thinking the same thing.
It's so dang bad. It's so pathetic. Feels so high school and everything. Any game is on ESPN Plus is a shame. It makes it a shame and a sham of a game and stuff.
I
hate that platform. Unsubscribe to that crap and stuff. Don't give it any dollars and stuff. It needs to go away permanently. We need to put games on TNT. I hate ESPN Plus, guys.
There we go. There's another short form video. Let's go. Hate ESPN. Thank you, Earl. We appreciate the $10 super chat. We really appreciate, again, your loyalty. Thank you so much. Earl Carr, what is this mowing? What has Earl done here?
Earl Carr, he has given us a super chat. He has gifted 5 memberships to the College Football Mafia family. Those memberships went to our friend Kerry Go Knowles.
Yes.
Amaze in Blue, Jack Cobra Cat, Expedition Greg, and Brett Taylor. You guys are in the chat. Excellent. Make sure you thank Earl Carr for those. Let's do another remix.
Yeah, that's good.
You're a bad man, Moan.
You're a bad different
man.
One.
What is this, Moan?
Bad man, Moan.
This is bad man.
You're a bad man, Moan. You're a bad man.
I haven't heard this one. This one's new.
No, this is brand new mix by Moan.
I haven't heard this mix. I was going to say, follow up on Moen's comments there. If you received a membership, make sure you do shout out whoever gave that to you. It happened to be Moen tonight.
No, that was Earl Carr.
Oh, I apologize. You're right. Well, you should pop one for us since I've already just said it.
Anyway. We don't have any more for January.
Okay, well, I can't do that. I apologize. Earl Carr gives all the – make sure everybody tells Earl Carr thank you. Those new members, make sure you check out the catalog. Go in and watch all the members' videos on College Football Mafia channel. And then if you've received a membership, consider paying one forward, giving somebody else one. Let's spread this love out. And the bigger we get, the more stuff we can produce for you. The more short form video we can do, the more shows we can do. That's our only limitation right now. So we appreciate everybody that does that. Thank you again, Earl. And I believe in karma. Karma works. So pay it forward and give somebody else what you've received. All right, let's get to a few more comments. Stormy Cyclones following up on that BYU Utah basketball game this weekend, Ute, in Salt Lake City. I personally think BYU is going to turn around and win this game. What do you think?
I think Utah wins.
Okay. You beat TCU and BYU
Utah wins.
TCU. Okay. Truth be told, Ute's not really a basketball guy. So maybe asking the wrong
a little
guy.
bit of stats here and there and everything, but yeah.
Yeah. I think Utah's favored right now. I think they have a 52 FPI or something like that, 52%. Anyway, it'll be a good game, but I believe BYU will turn the corner. Rock and Rant follows up. He was talking about Texas State TV ratings.
So Texas State has a big, massive 50K TV average viewership.
But let's be fair to Texas State. They're like a 2-year-old college or something, right? I mean, they've been
around for a while, but
I don't know.
They've
just been playing big time football.
The higher level of Sun Belt.
Yeah, and they've been in the Sun Belt where who's their broadcast partner? Mountain West Channel. That gives me heebie-jeebies. Every time I think about the Mountain Channel, I get cold sweats. So it really was so bad. By the way, I'm going to clear something up. I am not wearing Utah gear. This is Liverpool. Liverpool needs to win. So I'm giving them shout out. So don't get bipolar on me. I'm not cheering for Utah in any way, shape, or form. This is Liverpool. You never walk alone, baby. Let's go.
Let's
All
talk
right.
about Texas State and Sac State for a second, though.
Sure, go ahead.
Like, these are emerging brands. They've got some funding, facility funding at Sac State. Texas State's outside of San Antonio, so it's got good recruiting grounds. But guys, like, you're not getting a big brand, obviously, with either one of those. Like, there's not a lot of people know those schools. Like, it's a tough sell, I think, for the Pac-12 to consider those schools for expansion. It's a big reach for either one of them when you really boil everything down.
They need an eighth partner, though.
But, like, at the end of the day and stuff, it's got to be the right partner, right? It can't just be any partner. It can't be some partner that you're basically lifting up and everything. And
They need to
they would
fire
fully
their
support that.
commissioner for screwing up the whole UNLV coup.
I think Sac State, honestly,
everything.
I can't think of a worse decision than adding Sac State to
Well,
the
they can't unless they change rules. And Immaculate and I talked about this on Wednesday night. Unless they change rules, Sac State couldn't even join the Pac-12. I believe it's for 2 years. Immaculate might correct me if I'm wrong, but they couldn't even, because they can't even jump. They just made the jump from FBS to SCS. They have to be FBS 2 years before they can join a conference. So
what does Sac State get you for the Pac-12?
Sacramento?
You really
What's the
basically own
DMA
California.
of Sacramento?
Sacramento's one of it's like pretty much a median level DMA.
So like
for the
top 50?
Yeah, but like you're kind of looking at the rest of DMAs for the conference, and like you're not really adding a lot of upside there. If that's the big upside, that's just not enough. There's no football history. There's no basketball history.
Right.
Like, you own California already, some territory. Like, unless they're paying in to the conference and paying you a bunch of money, not just taking free reign, but actually paying you to be a part of it.
Right.
There's no way that can make sense, in my opinion. Adding
Okay.
Sac State.
All right. That'll be more on your short, right? You're going to go into that.
Absolutely.
RT says, happy Friday all. Thank you, RT. It's great to see you. Expedition Greg says, go Buckeyes, ready for Monday night. More people cheering for Ohio State. Let's see here. Expedition Greg, Ohio State's plane just touched down at Lille after 7 p.m. in Atlanta. What's that mean? Lille?
They just touched down a little after 7 p.m.
Oh, little after 7 p.m. All right. They've got 3 days to get antiquated. It got not antiquated, to get
acclimated.
Thank you.
The word you're looking for.
Ryan Welly, $5 super chat. Thank you, Ryan. Good to see you here, brother. We really appreciate you. If they must split NIL 50-50 because of Title IX, it'll ruin college sports. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Ryan,
It's
you can
not
rest easy. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Let's see here. Becky Go Husky said $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Becky. Sac State raised $50 million for NIL alone. What does that money do?
So if they have NIL funding, okay, like what does that get you as a conference? Like that's great for Sac State and everything. Like they're obviously a growing institution, but for the Pac-12 standpoint, like are you thinking that you're going to be raising some type of beast and stuff, like some type of new Gonzaga for Pac-12, like with no brand, no basketball history, nobody knows Sac State? Guys, do you know the mascot of Sac State? No,
I didn't even know they were.
Like, I mean, like nobody knows anything about Sac State. So basically it's just,
but I don't know Texas State either, to be fair.
It's the Bobcats, right? But like, I just think at the end of the day and stuff, you're just doing them a massive favor. If they want to do the funding and move the NIL funding to, hey, we'll pay in to be a part of your conference. We'll pay $20 million a year, $10 million a year to be a part of your conference.
Subsidize, yeah. Do the SMU route.
Not yet. Taking zero compensation for media rights.
And
I'm talking
paying
about
money.
Paying money into it.
Well, West Virginia kind of did that. Rutgers kind of did that too. They went in and they had to improve their facilities and get basically no revenue for a few years. I mean, schools have done that. In fact, I was just thinking about the West Virginia one today because that was BYU's slot, and West Virginia basically said, you don't have to pay us for 4 years or something, or very, very small marginal payments. So, yeah. Anyways,
anyway, what Sac State should do is give the $50 million to the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 can then own up to their contractual obligations and pay the Mountain West their poaching fees and their exit fees.
Right. Don't get angry,
Didn't
Moen.
do
Don't come
anything
through
wrong.
the screen.
Didn't do anything wrong.
Keep it
Moen.
settled. Immaculate comes in and from above. Would need an exemption to join early, kind of how Liberty got an exemption to join FBS as an independent because no one would take them. I don't see any way, shape, or form. I think if you right now you could demand anything you wanted from the NCAA and they'd give it to you. They have no money to fight for any of their rules, in my opinion.
Yeah, right now the NCAA would probably give you a comment that says it's no requirement that you have to wait 2 years to join an FBS. That's
We don't know
never
what
been a
you're
rule.
talking about.
That's never been a rule. Everybody who's FCS can now be FBS.
Let's get to a few more items here before Ute takes off. Let me go to this next one. Where are we at? Here we are. Another one from Mitt Winter. Again, we always try to give credit where credit's due. Give me a chance here. Oh, stupid.
Nice, the Toyota key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to replace my sorry about that. Oh gosh, did it break?
Now we know what kind of car he drives.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. No, that's not the one either. Rats, I lost it.
Just go to Mitt Winter's Twitter, guys.
Yeah, go to Mitt Winter's Twitter. Here's another one. NIL versus NLI. NLI, pretty much the national letter of intent of sort of, they're toothless now too. Allow me to reiterate who are primary beneficiaries of this mess. The House NCAA House settlement. Sorry, is it athletes? No. Is it the NCAA universities? No. Is it coaches? No. Lawyers are set to rake in well over $500 million for the House settlement. So 2.8 billion, I think, was the settlement, right? And they're going to take in 500 million. How does that make any sense, guys?
It makes no sense. Like, Nate, why don't you give a little bit more context than like with House settlement and the most recent updates with House settlement?
Sure. Yeah. So the House settlement, that's another news item. I have lost track of all my slides, so I'm not going to bring it up. House settlement was temporary, right? It's got this little, we think we're going to ratify it. Maybe it'll come through. There was a last minute charge by the federal government to say, oh, wait a second, you can't do this because it's not legal to put any restriction on NIL money from the school. Revenue sharing has no cap. We're going to say as the DOJ, we're going to say you guys can't ratify this. And the idea is to put more noise into the air, to put pressure on the judge to not ratify this judgment, which she's already temporarily ratified already. But as we refer back to Moen at the very beginning, all this is based on political nonsense that, let's just say it out loud. Biden administration has certain ways they look at labor. We're not going to get into the details. Everybody knows those things. They're at the last minute. Seriously, 2 days, 3 days before Trump takes over, comes out and does all these airmail notices. No NIL, no this, no that, no Title IX. I mean, there's just too many to talk about. And it's all to put pressure. It's all to put pressure on not only Trump to do what he can to, maybe they'll slip under and they'll just get ratified and he won't pay attention. No, that's not going to happen. There's too much money in the business interest for that to happen. And then put pressure on this judge for this House settlement, which honestly, guys, just so everybody knows, all this bubbled up because of the House settlement last year. If the House settlement still hadn't come through, none of this would be happening because there was no guidance for the schools. Absolutely no guidance on how they should handle their NIL or anything else. So put pressure on the judge, try to change her mind, and most of the money is on her saying, screw this. I'm not going to listen to you guys. You're just trying to force me into doing something. And she's just going to sign it and say, fine, I'll leave it. You guys can take it to court, do whatever you want. I'm done. So that's kind of where the political pressure is coming from. Okay, sorry that took so long.
Yeah, so the Department of Justice is trying to put some type of, we'll try to eliminate a cap, right, on the revenue sharing.
Yes.
That's the big story and everything. And so, guys, like the House settlement as we know it is subject to change. That's crazy because the athletic departments around the nation have been preparing for the last year to pivot and operate in the bounds of the House settlement. And all of a sudden it just gets at least discussed and unended possibly and stuff and moved around. I mean, it seems so malleable. It moves so easily and stuff that you can't have any certainty with the House settlement. It's crazy and stuff, like, and how to really prep, how much revenue sharing to offer, like what are the bounds of the playing field. It's really unclear right now for everybody.
Very ambiguous.
Yeah, very ambiguous. And we're talking about from the top of the house down, from the courts and everything, a lot of these things are being litigated still. But it's confusing to even follow really what's going on. And athletic departments are having trouble too. They don't understand it. So trying to plan for something they can't plan for. We don't even know if there's going to be a revenue cap now with this Department of Justice. But then again, is there going to be a Department of Justice when the new regime takes over in a couple days to months to years and everything? So a lot of uncertainty. College football is at the forefront of it too, because there's just a lot of litigation going on in the sport at the moment.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Nate used a fantastic analogy earlier involving a Ferrari. I'm going to pull something up right now that I think sums it up.
One thing America needs, it's more lawyers. Can you imagine a world without lawyers?
Yes.
Nice, Moan. Let's go.
I want to sum up all of this really quick with a post from our good friend and mentor, Greg Flugar, friend of the show. Honestly, one of my best friends in all this creator stuff we do. And he had a post tonight that I want to make sure I gave a little bit of time to. Basically sums it up like this: CBA, collective bargaining, or federal law, meaning Congress passes the law. I prefer CBA, but it has to be one or the other. College football can't continue to be a soap opera being conducted by lawyers, courts, advocacy groups, judges, and governing body with no authority. Contracts have to be binding. Rules have to be binding.
That sums it up.
It does.
Non-binding. Everything's non-binding. Everything can be adjusted. Everything can change. How can you plan for anything in life if things change so often? There's no structure to the sport right now, the highest level, and that needs to change. Needs to be more certainty with it. So CBA, federal rulings and stuff, give us some certainty in the sport so we can grow the sport.
And before you go, Ute, I want to do one more. Since we're into audio video tonight, I want to do one more. This is Travis Hunter, okay? And I can't remember how long this goes. A minute 21. I don't know if everybody wants to hear it. There is some language, but it was posted in the news that Carson Beck was being offered $10 million in NIL money, okay? Everybody knows Travis Hunter's worth. Carson Beck is a turnover machine, quit on his team at the end of the year, and supposedly getting offered $8 to $10 million. So this is Travis Hunter's thoughts about Carson Beck and getting this money. Let me back this up.
How do you get $10 million? Where's my $10 million?
Right. Shoot. You need 40.
Why's all these people getting this much money, bro?
Like this NIL market seems like it resets every 4 months.
Hold on, let me go test it out, bro. I'm finna go test it out, bro. Let me go back. I'm going back to college, bro. Let me see if I can get me $100 million.
Want to see what your NIL value is?
Yeah, let me see my NIL value, bro. Let me see if I can go back and win another Heisman, and because $10 million, I ain't make that in college.
Right. Let me negotiate. Let me go get on the phone. Hey, Travis, I want to hit the. See what they say.
Yeah, let me go hit the porter right quick, bro. $10 million, bro. Yeah. I mean, it's not accurate. I know that, but still, bro.
Right.
$10 million, bro. If I made $10 million, if I made $10 million in college, boy. Travis Hunter get a yacht.
$10 million for Carson Beck. Hey, man. Get your money back. That's all I'm gonna say. Get your money back.
Yeah. I'm happy.
Rick George. Well, yeah, Rick George. Rick George, come on, man. Answer the call, man.
So now he's begging. He's begging Colorado to give him more money.
Oh, that's a lot.
That was
$10 million.
$10 million. I posted that link. Everybody love, share. I bookmarked it. It's going to be in my greatest videos of all time list. But what does he hit here, people? The key, everything he was saying is what? Why leave college when there is no salary cap and you can make as much money as humanly possible in college? And now there's no age limit. Now there's no, you can go to school like for 900 years, like some people up on the hill have done.
Hey,
I'm saying I'm with Travis Hunter. I want those guys to get paid. I've always wanted them to get paid. I also didn't have a problem with steroids, but we're not talking about steroids tonight. I just think, why would you leave college? If you had that opportunity, tell me you would turn down that money.
I would keep the money and I would stay in college because you're the king of the campus and you're making $10 million, guys. It's a lot better than going to the NFL and making less, maybe, right? Like on your rookie contract, it depends on what it is. If you're not a top,
well, they're capped now.
Pick.
The rookie contracts are now capped per position and where you're drafted. It's pro forma. Now they can give you a huge signing bonus, but the salary actually isn't very much.
Look, that's pretty attractive, and that's going to keep players like Cam Rising in the game for another year. I'm guaranteed. You watch Cam Rising, I could see him end up at Sac State, guys. There's a little bit of just small smoke waves that say that could actually be the case too, right? Just putting that out there. If he chooses to play football, Cam Rising, Sac State.
Do you believe? But sorry, you mentioned him. I didn't say his name. Do you think he left Utah, or was he asked to? Because if you listen to Kyle, and I don't take everything Kyle says as gospel anyway, but if you listen to Kyle, he was given the choice.
I think that he was kindly asked to leave the program.
Look who we got here. We're losing Wild Ute, and now we've got the OG.
Are you serious, Greg? You're going to jump on now? Come on.
Is Wild Ute leaving?
He has to leave.
Like 3 to 5 minutes.
Every time he comes on, I got to go. Every time I come on, he's got to go.
Maybe you're the same guy. Maybe
we've never seen them in the same room together.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Yeah.
I first of all, Moen, thank you for providing me a link.
Yeah, I should have done that, Greg, at the beginning.
Well,
I apologize.
And I thank you, Nathan, for letting me come on.
Always.
Well, I got to get something off my chest.
And you have a big chest, so let's go.
I got a big chest. I even got a bigger belly. And I didn't do a show today because I'm so, excuse my language, pissed off at everything about college football. I just couldn't do a show because I'd be yelling and screaming and people would be upset with me. So I decided to get your tremendous family of subscribers upset.
Well, thank you for coming. We appreciate it always.
Moen, thanks, my man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I know you're a little upset about the Wisconsin news.
I'm upset about. I'm upset about everything, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess there's just no damn rules anymore.
No.
I mean, we have to have litigation over everything because if we don't have litigation over everything, we can't have a rule. I mean, how stupid is that? Honest to God. First of all, I get it. I'm not the brightest bulb in the refrigerator, but I know where every refrigerator is in every place I walk into. I get that Wisconsin contract is not, it's not legal because it's not July after the House settlement. I get that, guys. But all these schools, all these athletic departments have been signing these contracts with these players. I'm sorry, BYU, you've been doing it. Utah, you've been doing it. Ohio State, you've been doing it. Minnesota's been doing it. We're all been doing it with the thought that as July comes along, they become what? Official, right?
Right.
So suddenly, I don't ever defend Wisconsin, by the way. Okay? I mean, they're the evil Badgers, for God's sakes. But come on, man. Are you serious? You know what? Luke Fickell should have let him go to the portal. right? Should have just let them go. I guess we don't have a portal anymore.
There's no
So
portal.
so
That's what we're
nobody's
talking
portal.
about.
So no one's going to be following that rule. It's just ridiculous. Okay, so Luke Fickell should have let him go in the portal. Okay, number one. The kid did sign a contract. Okay, I guess, but it's not binding yet, right? But you know what, Fickell, you should have let the guy in the portal right away. But the guy's a you know what. But Miami, you shouldn't be tampering. Shouldn't be tampering. Obviously, you tampered. That's against the rules. It is. We all agreed on it. You don't contact a player until the guy's in the portal, because you know what happens.
About.
What?
I got a cousin's sister's brother that lives down the street that he's going to come up, knock on his door, offer him some flowers.
Look.
I'm telling you.
All you're doing is putting all the control of college football to four or five agents. That's all that we're doing right now. Yeah. That's all we're doing with this tampering stuff, because you're not letting other people into the mix to possibly go after this Lucas kid. And by the way, this Lucas kid, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, Miami, because you just pissed off Wisconsin. And that is the one school you shouldn't piss off if you want to join the Big Ten 5, 6, 7 years.
Oh my God!
Oh, you don't think that's true?
I wouldn't doubt it.
You don't think
Greg,
Greg, this is not a family-friendly show. If you want to say the F word,
oh my gosh, Greg, that is
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know how much trouble. You know that the Big Ten, and I can tell you even the city that it happened, Washington D.C. When they had those meetings going on, the Big Ten told Oregon, look, there are rules that you're going to have to follow. They might not be litigated out there, but they're rules, the Big Ten rules. There are Big Ten rules, they're bylaws. One of them right now, currently in this atmosphere, you can't tamper with each other's players. So there's not going to be any more. You're not going to be any more Buckley going from Minnesota to Oregon until he gets his name in the portal. That ain't going to happen again. Oregon agreed, and they haven't done it since. So I'm just telling you, Miami, I hope the juice was worth the squeeze, and I very doubt it will be unless that kid's Deion Sanders. But
Greg, do you really believe that's the case? Do you really believe that Miami's going to get blackballed from the Big Ten?
Maybe not blackballed, but you just created a hurdle. Wow, dude, I can tell you of Wisconsin holds now the Buckeyes in this next wave everyone's going to acquiesce to them because they acquiesced to Oregon and Washington. The Buckeyes were not for that, but because the vast majority was, the Buckeyes said, okay. And everyone said, Buckeyes, you're calling the next shot. That's why President Carter, he holds a monster hammer and the nail and the gavel and everything else when it comes to the next wave. But historically, Wisconsin and Michigan was the faction that you had to get their approval to get the Minnesota, to get the Northwestern, because they are the largest research universities. They wanted Washington. Oregon was able to come in because of Fox support and all that. I'm just telling you, Wisconsin is the one school you don't want to piss off. But let me get to a larger point.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Pretty soon.
What? You guys got to go?
No. Just make sure you include the F word. I want to get you to say the F word.
No.
That's what Ute's waiting. That's the only thing he's waiting for.
There's another thing here. I'm doing a Diet Coke here. Hold on.
Okay. Take a deep breath, Greg.
I've already changed my mind on something.
Uh-oh.
About 30 minutes ago, I tweeted out, give me a CBA.
I just read that.
Yep.
I just read it.
Or give me a federal law.
Yeah.
Because this sport is being controlled by agents.
Yeah.
And those who advocate for agents, those lawyers out there who are getting paid by the agents, by the way.
Yeah.
Those lawyers that you're watching out there nitpicking every little thing and going after every little thing, those are advocates. They're getting paid for what they're doing. That's why they're on X all day long. But when I said, there it is, CBA, prefers CBA, but it has to be one of the other, CBA or federal law. Okay, you can take that off, Nathan.
Okay.
I am now 100% for, and I can't believe I'm saying this.
If you say federal
law,
law, I'm going to lose it.
I'm going to say federal law.
I think that's
Whoa. This is a
and I'm going to get. Wait. I get it. I get it, Greg. I get it, but
going to the dark side, Greg.
Yeah, I'm there. I don't really have any faith that it's going to happen. But if I had to prefer, it was always a CBA. But now I don't trust nobody.
Yeah.
I trust nobody. The CBA, it cannot be treated. This sport, this thing that we're trying to have governance, can't be completely treated like a semi-professional league, as a professional league.
Right.
I know. I mean, a lot of it is, but we can't you cannot force a student athlete to go to a particular college.
You're gonna give Charlie Baker power though?
No,
the guy is
You
would if you go federal. You're gonna give the antitrust exemption. You're gonna give NCAA its power back.
But this NCAA thing is most of the power in college football is FBS.
Right, but they're trying to take that over too, right? They're trying to get off the
well, there's got to be some governing body,
right?
And there's got to be rules, and we all got to follow the rules. At some point, we got to follow the rules. So I have always been for a CBA since the very first episode I did. But what's going to happen is, we're not going to be able to treat this as a complete professional league ever because of Title IX and so I fear that if we get a CBA, because it won't be 100% consistent like it easily can be in a professional league, that we're going to have to. The lawyers are going to keep going at it because they want their money. This is this has become their golden goose, and they're going to keep going and going and going. So you know what? Damn it. Give me that federal law.
But we have an activist judiciary too, though, right? They love sticking their nose in. They love the judges over there. The Supreme Court seems to have cases escalated to them every day. They never used to do that. Now they take these short-term emergency meetings. Let's make a ruling right this second. TikTok, hello. I don't. You trust Congress? I don't trust Congress.
No, I don't trust Congress.
I trust contracts, and I trust money.
Well,
I don't
what
even.
about the contract the kid from Wisconsin signed?
No,
but that contract was done sort of under broken rules, though, right?
No. That contract wasn't done under broken rules. It just hasn't taken effect yet.
Well, it's not a rule yet. I mean,
but my point is, it's like, okay, so if it does take effect,
right?
Okay, let's say it does take effect. Okay, let's pretend it's July 20th right now, 3 days after. I mean, this kid had just signed this NIL. He just transferred over his NIL ownership to Wisconsin.
Yes.
If that happens in July, late July, I got no faith. I got no faith at all that if Wisconsin then, or let's switch to schools. Let's say it's Utah and Minnesota. Okay. Minnesota signs a player for 2 years. We've got his NIL ownership. In return, we're getting NIL deals for him. It's all contractual. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone's signed on the dotted line. And now here comes Utah, right? Here comes Utah. And they're going to give him more money, a bigger contract, whatever. And he says, you know what, Minnesota, I'm out the door, baby. I'm out the door. I'm going to Utah. Bye-bye. See you later. I have absolutely no faith, zero faith, that Minnesota is going to get any compensation back from Utah, because the lawyers are going to. I mean, it's all. This is a feeding frenzy right now. You don't think?
They won't get any money back from Utah because his name, image, likeness is
yeah,
no longer valuable at Minnesota. It's
yeah, there
valuable
it is.
at
There's one. And there, Utah's already working it, and this is a pretend scenario. I mean, this is no. Give me a federal carve out. Give me at least a little bit of bipartisanship on it.
Let me interrupt you here real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, first Ute. You can
You
say
know what?
your goodbyes.
Last words. I've got a solution for everybody here.
Go
A
ahead.
lot of problems. There's one clear solution, and that's Project Rudy. Project Rudy's the solution.
Let's go. Project
You know,
Rudy,
the Super League. We could have one
Let's
structure,
go.
one CBA for
Let's
a large
go.
Super League team.
Let's go.
I'll leave you to stew on that and think about that. In the meantime, go Utes.
Have a great
Thanks for jumping
weekend.
on.
I'm gonna call you this weekend, okay? So we can
Got
chat
it.
for a minute. Okay. All right.
Take care,
See you
guys.
later. Be safe. Bye-bye, Ute. Let's clap him out, baby. Wild Ute leaving us. All right. So just to go with what you were saying there, Greg. Okay, I got this. It was actually something that Rock and Rant tracked down. He texted me about it. I did see it in the chat, but I didn't quite understand what it meant. So we're gonna read through this really quick. So this is from Darren Heitner, and he's talking about this Xavier contract, not contract deal, right? Now, I will say this, so everybody knows, Rock and Rand is a Miami guy, okay? So we want to make sure everybody knows context. This is what Darren Heitner said, who has come out of nowhere to become now an NIL expert or a college.
He's a lawyer.
I know he is.
He's scooping up the cash right now.
He's one of the now 50 super lawyers that are doing this crap. He says it's an MOU conditioned on approval of the House settlement, which has yet to receive final approval. Greg, you just said that.
Yeah.
And Xavier attending classes no later than spring 2025. He unenrolled from the institution, so he unenrolled from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Furthermore, he sought to enter his name into the transfer portal, but the institution improperly denied his right to do so, which is a violation of NCAA rules. I wouldn't be surprised if the NCAA takes action for that. Notwithstanding, the institution has not paid any monies to him, and so he owes no reimbursement to the institution.
True.
Wisconsin's done enough to ruin its reputation. Move on. And I would just add to that, I'm going to back out of this and go smaller. I would add to that I realize everything you're saying, and you can't trust anybody and all these other things, and lawyers are getting paid ungodly amounts of money, but you could write contracts that have outs. No harm contracts. If they do sign with somebody else, they're gone. There's no reason that you couldn't work around. I am so concerned this goes back to it gets into some stratified NCAA again that's gotten this now carte blanche ruling that they now are in charge of everything related to college sports again. And I think they're a corrupt organization. I don't have any proof to say they're corrupt, but if you look at enough of their choices, I think you can say there's some backs being scratched there. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, and maybe we'll have a debate one night about it, but
everything the lawyer said is accurate.
Right.
He hasn't gotten the young man hasn't gotten paid anything.
Right.
It's the contract.
So no harm, no foul, right? Can't you just do that?
Well, well, sure. I mean, again, except for the tampering part, Miami
what
obviously
is tampering
man
anymore?
Huh?
What is tampering anymore?
Okay, so there's the thing. That is a rule.
Okay,
that is a rule. You don't tamper the school. If the agent calls your school,
right,
and asks what would you provide my player,
right?
The first question has to be, is your player in the portal yet?
Right.
And if the agent says no, he's not, then that any representation of that school has to hang up the phone.
But the portal's disappearing, so how can you have tampering?
Well, those are two different things.
I don't think they are.
So now we don't even have to enter a name into the portal. I mean, it's just,
I'm getting word from the NCAA that there is no tampering as well as no portal. That just came down. That's a quote from the NCAA that there's.
Yeah, I had that quote and I lost it.
Well, I was just making that up, but that was a joke.
My point is, this is my point. is the rules don't, whatever we thought was the paradigm
I don't.
months ago.
Okay, I don't think I'm at the point where you go. You first of all, the NCAA is created by the presidents of all these institutions,
Right.
and they provide. They vote on it. They provide these rules, regulations, just like within your own conference.
Right.
And I'm at the point where it doesn't matter what rules people agree on, because they're just not going to be followed. I mean,
Right.
they're just not going to be followed. I'm up to the I am for a federal law. I'm for a federal carve out. I don't think it's probably going to happen. I want an actual, like, we can't get it like it's professional sports, because we got all these exit ramps off and on, because these are students.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a draft, right? But we got to get to the point where contracts do matter, Nathan. When a student athlete, and I'm not talking about this situation, because again, this wasn't got into effect yet. But if we roll around August and we got players getting out of their contracts with no like legal, with no compensation going back to the other school, are we going to have players leaving their school after 2 weeks and then joining another team in week 3?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they actually said they could do that.
okay, well, but see, Ken doing it and doing it are completely two different things. Like,
are we getting lost in the minutia here, though? Aren't we talking about small details that haven't even been painted out? Because there really is no governing document anymore.
Well, there is a government. I mean,
well, not yet. It's not approved yet. House
so how far does this go, though? Like, how far does this no rules thing go to? I mean,
it can quickly spin out of control.
Can a school play 15 games? Can a school, like, I mean, did Minnesota actually go 12-0 and the scores don't matter? I mean, it's getting to the point where, you know, the Big Ten, for example, the Big Ten, so did the Big 12, so did the ACC. They got together, they got their legal counsels, they built these templates up for so everyone is kind of reading off the same song sheet when it comes to forming a contract with these players.
Yep.
After July, coming August, these contracts are now going to. Let's say the House versus NCAA settlement does happen.
Right.
Okay, let's say it does.
And we think it probably will. I don't think she's going to.
Okay, so are these contracts going to be enforceable? They better be.
Anything can be lawsuit now, though.
Huh?
There's nothing that isn't lawsuitable.
And I guess that's my point. I don't think a CBA brings an era of where there's not a whole bunch of lawsuits going on.
No, you do. Okay, so yeah, let's back up to that piece. You're right. There needs to be a protection in there to stop all the lawsuits. And you can give that overall coverage to the NCAA. I don't care if they have that. It's the other stuff where they start dilly-dallying. I would say this Title IX fiasco was all started by the NCAA. They didn't put out proper guidance in the first place. They didn't want to stand up to the powers that be when money started coming in for football. And they just let basketball run riot. And in doing so, Title IX basically got undercut and was barely being used anyway.
Yeah.
It was more being used for like DEI challenges and access and, you know, more protections for the athletes and not so much about revenue sharing and money.
Becky, go Huskies. NCAA never updated their bylaws, rules to match the times and current laws. Until there's a CBA and legit enforceable punishments, they'll tamper. There's a reason it never happens in the NFL. True, right? NFL, you got player contracts. The Miami Dolphins are not going to be able to take away a Green Bay Packer player if he's got 3 years left on his contract. My worry is that college football will never be in the same light as the NFL in regards to contracts, even in the CBA, because the lawyers are going to go, well, you can't stop this student athlete from really wanting to go to Ohio State, and you're going to have to let him go, and not because, again, it's never going to be the exact same thing as a professional league. It's just so it ain't going to be treated the same by the courts and the lawyers. So I've come to the point, like, we need to have a special carve out for this creation of college sports. If not, it's always going to be vulnerable to the lawyers and the courts and advocacy groups. It's just going to get picked apart.
Really quick, by the way, thank you, Becky, for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Greg, thanks for reading it. I put it up there and we got talking and I didn't point to it. So thank you for doing that. Me versus echo chamber. Let's just, I want to clarify this. So the presidents and ADs didn't want the NCAA involved. I think we're talking about football because obviously basketball is involved. How is that the NCAA's fault? What I'm talking about with the NCAA as an organized body has not really, I'll just use the most blaring example that I can think of. That's the negotiations for the House settlement itself. I think them instituting charges to schools that really weren't paying out any NIL anyway, and having that trickle down to them is a major overreach. And I think it'll be it's already been challenged. They haven't filed a lawsuit yet because it hasn't been ratified, but it will. The day it gets ratified, they will file those lawsuits. North Dakota, South Dakota being a couple states that would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Why should they have to pay so that Ohio State can pay $10 million if they wanted to one player, right? I don't think that does not seem right to me. So why would I want to give them more power than that? It's not about them wanting it or not wanting it. They're basically saying, this is all I have. The judge says there's no other structure to use. The NCAA is really the only way to do is attach basketball revenue because that's what everybody's in. And in doing so, it's just a mess, everybody. It is just a mess.
The greatest leverage that the House versus NCAA, the lawyers had was if you don't strike this deal, if all your institutions could not get together and somehow come to an agreement, and as you said, Nathan, it wasn't really an agreement. It was a lot of browbeating, right?
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if that wouldn't have happened, as ugly as that was, and we all saw how the sausage was made.
Yep.
If that wouldn't have happened, and if there wasn't an agreement, that $2.8 billion back pay
right
would be $20 billion,
right,
or $25 billion, and we shutter all these sports, and then we're done.
Yeah.
We might be going down that path anyways. Okay, we got the Los Angeles Dodgers signed another great Japanese pitcher, right? We got Major League Baseball, whose product is no longer competition, right? Because there is the and I'm a union guy. My dad was in union, so but the union and the players rep has so much power over Major League Baseball, right?
Yeah, it's broken Major League Baseball.
They control it. The agents control it. And so the ingredient of competition has been completely thrown out of Major League Baseball.
Yes, it has.
In the NFL football, competition is the main ingredient.
Because there's a CBA that keeps a cap on everything, and there's a salary cap.
Yes. Now, and for college football, and I focus on college football. I know there's a bigger college athletics thing to it, but I focus on college football. It can't be the NFL, but it cannot end up being the MLB either.
Right.
Right. It's got to be somewhere in the middle. And I just don't want 4 or 5 agents controlling everything. Because I'm going to tell you something. They are right now.
Even to go deeper, there's coach agents that are now controlling there, right?
Jimmy Sexton controls basically the top
Yes.
dozen
Yeah.
coaches in college
So
football.
it's not just players. We're talking
Yes.
about every organization.
Yeah. But you've got players. Okay, now we don't have a portal. Okay, whatever. But I mean, it's just this
It's
whole
insane,
thing.
Greg. It's literally insane.
No one's following. I shouldn't say no one. There are schools out there following the rules. There's some schools that don't give a damn.
Right.
So, so you're at a point where the player hasn't. See, the portal was all about the player going, "I'm available. I'm going to talk to everybody," or I'm going to be. Not everybody, but I'm out there. I'm available. Okay.
Right.
So everybody knew, all the institutions knew, player Nathan Brown, left tackle Nathan Brown, he's willing to talk. With these players, with this tampering that's going on, these players, and now the agents are calling a few schools and saying, "Are you interested in my guy? Can you hit this number $4 million?"
Well, and they're trying to bid each other against, right? I
Yeah,
got an offer here,
but
so
only
now-
for a handful of schools.
Yeah, right.
Like a lot of the schools don't even know this player is available.
Right.
So the agents are taking over.
Yeah.
And that is ruining the sport, man. I don't think I've ever been more pissed off than I am right now.
Let's answer this question from Ryan Willie. Thanks for everything you do for us, Ryan. We appreciate it. $2 super chat. You dropped this and left. Project Rudy wouldn't solve any of this crap. Really, Project Rudy is a separate. We're not talking realignment, and we're not talking about Super League right now. But we are talking about the organization, especially college football, when we're talking about this stuff. And Project Rudy wouldn't, I think Ute was being a little silly. It wouldn't fix really anything. But what it would do is it at least put some sort of structure around a Super League would essentially be a semi-pro NFL style. You could, if once you have a league that this is all we have, it's only 70, it's not 133, and that organization's codified. Now you put them into regions. You no longer have these cross, and you can organize it different, right? That's why people are advocates, because Cal Berkeley doesn't want to be traveling to Wake Forest to play football, with the conference mix-ups. So that's where that comes into. I do believe it's part of the solution, coming up with something like that, but it's certainly not an end-all. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I just on my show, Peek Around the Corner, people call in with their comments, and they call in and they can talk anything they want in college football. They want to talk Super League. We have good discussions, but I really never talk Super League in my monologues because it just isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
In the, at least in the way that it's been brought up here. I mean, the only way the Super League happens is if Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia and Michigan all get together and say, okay, let's create a Super League. It isn't going to happen from the outside. It's
an asset. Something right now, ESPN owns it. It's an asset to ESPN. Somebody else could come along and buy it at the next negotiating window at 30-31 or whatever that is. It could go to the open market. ESPN could lose its stranglehold. That could happen.
Talking about the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm talking. Well, once the playoff changes or goes to a different format, if it's private equity.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about Super League. I'm sorry.
Well, it sort of ties together, though. You would private equity come in and buy it as an asset, right? And this is now they can farm out all the broadcasting. They can send it to everybody, whoever wants to bid for these games. And now all of a sudden that asset is something that a third party could own. The schools all get the same money. So if Ohio State continues to get the same money and they don't lose any, but all the other schools that are in this Super League are caught up to where Ohio State is at, I think that would be preferable to roughly 30 schools dominating everything. I think you'd have more people involved in that, and I think you're seeing more outcry, people involved because of the enhanced playoff, right? That I think it changes things. I think that cannot go out of bat. It's not about the Big 12 getting private equity. The big idea is private equity as an asset comes in and just buys the thing, packages it, puts whoever they want in it, 48 teams, 40, whatever, and then everybody gets the same money. And now you could institute a salary cap. Now you could do a CBA. All that could happen for football. Absolutely could happen.
The
Rock
closest
and
you're
Rant
gonna,
has joined us
yeah,
to rant. Go
the
ahead. Mo.
closest you're going to have to a Super League is the Big Ten and SEC signing a scheduling agreement.
Yeah, we just disagree on it. I know. Yeah. The scheduling agreement really doesn't fix anything, though, Mo. And all that is coordination. That's not. There's no structure associated with it. Yeah. Anyway, I get what Greg's saying. This isn't his bailiwick, so we don't have to stay on that. Didn't mean to get off track, but thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, Ryan. Rock and Rant, you have joined the show. He is hot and heavy about Miami and Wisconsin. Go ahead, Rock.
Greg, it's bad enough I have to do the reverse Sophie's choice of dealing with Ohio State and Notre Dame in the final. But fortunate enough, it's cold outside in LA today. So I walked outside and it cooled off a little bit.
Oh, hold up. He's on the phone. So
he's getting more direct information from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Xavier
and
called
how
him.
cold is it in LA, Rock and Rant?
Cold enough to at least make me not get
All right.
on fire on this call.
Do we have
Okay.
Greg left? Greg, are you back?
I'm sorry, I'm here. I got a phone call.
Okay, so
I'm
I know
here.
you did. I want to know, what was the secret?
No,
Tell us
it
right
was
now.
it was my sister checking
Breaking
up,
news. Let's go.
No,
All right.
Oh, so now we know sister is code word for his Wisconsin source.
That's
no,
right.
I have
Okay,
no.
Rock and Rant has joined the show to share with his big expansive ideas. Let's go, Rock.
My big expansive ideas. Cheeseburgers, Greg. That's my first one for you. Look,
Gross.
my basic take is on principle, pox on all the schools first, right? They didn't want employees and they didn't want to do CBA. And then everyone's freaking out that it turns out into a crap show in the middle. So that's the first thing. Even my dog agrees. And I think she sees someone from Wisconsin outside. And my other dog is now chiming in as well. But I would like anyone to tell me, by the way, first, just to start, anyone know another player that was denied access to the portal after submitting the paperwork, since we're all aware of the portal? So Wisconsin opened this can of worms the way that they dealt with this, right? First of all. And all respect to Greg, whoever's telling you what Wisconsin fans are saying, no one really knows how any school were contacted by Xavier Lucas. We could speculate. We could say it's an agent. Maybe it was. It could have been American Heritage, his high school, and their coaches talked to Miami and other schools all the time. It could have been his mom. It could have been Xavier Lucas, who was recruited by Miami directly. Like, none of us really know. I'm sure people on the Wisconsin side have a take. We also know that his lawyer said weeks ago that over 40 schools contacted him the minute he posted, or within days of him posting on a Friday before Christmas, that he was entering the portal. For all we know, all the quote-unquote tampering happened after the 48-hour period when everyone expected him to be there and Wisconsin still hadn't done. So I just think it's a little bit, until we actually know, and I don't know if we really know, to assume that this school did or didn't tamper. And I'm not saying any school, including Miami, is above it or beyond it, but there's a lot of daggers getting thrown out there. And to me, an equal amount of that is on Wisconsin for the way they handled it. And language matters. A contract isn't a contract until it's a contract. An MOU is an agreement to get into a contract, but it's not done until those conditions are satisfied, and those haven't been done. So that said, I completely agree that it's a craziness and the rules have to be done, and not every rule needs to be done by litigation. But I also want to say that we don't know exactly how every single thing has gone down, because none of us were party to all the conversations that are there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree the contract wasn't a contract yet. And I said that on X, and I said that when I came on the show. The gentleman had got no money yet from Wisconsin. So again, he owes nothing. I also said that Wisconsin should have let him in the portal when he wanted to go in the portal. I guess there's no portal, but whatever. I also, the tampering thing. Okay, sure. I wasn't in the room when the phone call was made or whatever. But I all I'm saying is this: no university should be contacting anybody, any player, up until tonight when we found out there's absolutely, now everyone knows there's no portal. Nobody should be contacting any player. No school should be asking for any interest until the player entered the portal.
I agree. By the way, Wisconsin should have done the same thing for TVD a year ago.
Yep,
just FYI.
But I'm saying,
so like those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones too much.
Yep, and there was schools that was following those rules, and there's schools that weren't following those rules. Minnesota Golden Gophers had 2 guys tampered with, and they called both universities out. Everyone's talking about how the Connecticut coach is going to call people out. Right. Minnesota did it 2 years ago and 3 years ago, and saying we don't do this. It's against the rules. One guy, the Kansas, I forget the guy's name, Thomas, the running back, Kansas State coaches sent a whole bunch of text messages to this player, and PJ Fleck found out about it and went to the NCAA and said, "Look, we're gonna be filing suits." And then Kansas State, Kai Thomas is the running back, and Kansas State said, "Okay, we won't take the player." And then Kai Thomas went to Kansas. And of course, the Buckley is the big one. Went from Minnesota to Oregon, didn't go in the portal, and Oregon offered him, massive amount of money. Minnesota lost him in the dead of night, and he hadn't entered his name in the portal. And Oregon got talked to by the Big Ten in Washington, D.C. That was one of the many things that Oregon had to button up before they joined the Big Ten. So there are
Minnesota but they had evidence, and they actually brought it.
Yes,
right?
They had evidence.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't know
if every school.
I don't know if Wisconsin had evidence or not.
Yeah, I know of a few schools that certain schools have evidence on. One happens to begins with a W and ends with an N from last year. And I know another one that begins with an A and begins with an A that suddenly someone went to the portal and instantly was gone. So I'm not defending it because it's done widely. But if you have the actual evidence and you're really going to make a stink, like to hold somebody from outside the portal, which is the extremist thing I think we've seen so far from a school, then you guys should then it should be presented, right? Yeah. But even that, if you have that evidence, there's still no condition that gave them the right to not put his name in the portal, assuming the paperwork was given. If it turned into a situation where you could prove school X or Y did something that goes against the rules, then what you're talking about with Minnesota and the things that happen either officially or through Big Ten conference rules, it could be handled. But if that's not the case, you still could have put the kid in the portal, and any number of other schools could have done it. And Wisconsin, I threw this online too, is for all we know, whatever litigation theoretically could happen, right? There's also possible litigation from the player back to the school of all the opportunities that they feel like they didn't get because their name wasn't properly put into the portal, regardless that he wound up in Miami. They could also say, like, I could have got an X if I had been put in the portal correctly. So
yeah, it's a mess.
Okay, going forward.
Yeah,
going forward now. I'm and this is not a shot at Lucas or any other. I'm just saying it, man. Look, you're 18, 19 years old, you're 20 years old, you're 21, you're 22 years old. If this House versus NCAA settlement, if it actually happens, and these are the rules that we have, after July, if they maintain themselves until another court ruling and another court ruling, and
it's so frustrating.
But going forward, football players, when you sign a contract, your NIL, You're signing over your NIL ownership to the athletic department, because these contracts are being signed all over the country right now. The same one Wisconsin signed with Lucas, Minnesota signed all their players, all of them. This came out of the Big Ten template. Big 12 has their own template. ACC has their own template. So if you, after July, whenever your contract actually becomes legal, whatever, and you want to get out, how are we going to handle that? Well, again, we are not, this is my biggest concern. This is never going to be a professionalized 100%, because we cannot keep kids from going to schools that they want to go to. This is never going to be the NFL. So it's got to be treated a little bit differently. So if a kid wants to get out of his contract, he'll be able to get out of it, but some compensation has to come back to the school that lost the player. It just has to happen.
Well, so let's talk
we're not.
about that. Let's talk about the compensation idea. That's been floated in the last several weeks. People have talked about possibly instituting a program where you take a player and you invest in him, and then he goes somewhere else, that the schools do trade some sort of compensation.
They have to trade
something, money, whatever.
Something
right?
has to happen.
Yeah.
Else we're just, we're and that's why I've always been for a CBA, but I don't know if this quasi professionalism, quasi amateurism, still, whatever this is, I think maybe the only solution is that dreaded carve out by Congress.
Yeah.
Because no matter what CBA you drawn up, I'm afraid that it's just going to get ripped to shreds by lawyers, because they're going to be able to take one side or the other on the professionalism. No, it's amateur. No, it's no. Back and forth, and we're just going to ping pong this back and forth. I think we're on the precipice of a disaster in this sport. I mean, if guys can go and leave, there's got to be some roster management. There's got to be some stability at some point. Or we're going to destroy the sport more than it's already, been hampered by an NCAA that never listened to its student athletes. We can go down that whole history.
Yeah. I think it's really important that we keep this stuff in context too, right? As I said at the very beginning, you might not have heard this, Greg. I'm not sure that you did either, Rock. But all this news was dumped today for a reason, right? Let's circle back to the very beginning. Everything's happening now because of the last-minute changes by the Biden administration trying to put something out there that may or may not last, and a new organization coming in, a new administration with Trump is coming in, and there's concerns they'll go in and blow the whole thing up. So they're trying to get stuff out there at least. And, I guess they're hoping maybe that challenges won't last or whatever, even though none of it's really enforceable. None of the stuff they talked about today was all guidance, right?
Yeah.
So the sky's not falling. We've gotten in depth here in a few items that were really important that we talked about. But at the end of the day, the biggest concern, and Greg said it over and over and over again, is where are we going to be to make this all be settled? Unlimited.
Title IX is another great, example of how this, and again, I'm focusing on college football, and you guys can focus on basketball and all these other sports that are important. But like Title IX for basketball and hockey and football, that's another component that professionalized sports don't have, never will have. But we're gonna need it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can go to the extreme of both sides of it, but Title IX has been very important to the inclusion and development and expansion of women's sports throughout this country. It just has. Now, I don't think we can go in the direction that was just put out by the Department of Education.
Right. Yeah, that was nuts.
I think, but there has to be there's got to be a carve out. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it has to be special. We have to handle this differently than we would when represented in Major League Baseball, when when labor and ownership battle, when labor and ownership battle in the NFL and the NHL. This is different, and it's always going to be different, right? Or am I crazy? So I don't trust the Congress. I mean, I don't like this bipartisanship between Booker and Cruz. Hopefully it works. And I'm probably going to agree with some of it and disagree with some of it and all this, but I think it's our only shot. That's where I'm getting to, and I'm depressed saying it because I'm a moron for saying it. But I don't think this collective bargaining stuff, God, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think it's going to end up working either. I think it's going to get ripped to shreds because this isn't exactly a professionalized thing. Go ahead, Rock and Rant. Moen.
No, I don't. The fundamental things you're talking about, I don't disagree with at all. I mean, we talked about it forever, and every time, like even the coaches this week talking about wanting to have a rule for just one portal. Like, I love that in theory, but instantly have questions about that because any other student can transfer after the semester, right? So,
right.
And the only way to do that is either make them employees or do CBA, or the third one, which is, and I agree with everything you're saying. I just have even less faith in Congress to do anything, regardless of a unified government on one party. So, either way, the problem is, like, we're still probably another year of madness aside, because even if House gets implied, like the things we talked about last year, if that gets approved and ratified later on this summer, things we've talked about on your show and this show for the past year is, okay, this is really great, but it's like people from the past are making a decision for people that aren't even party to the settlement, right? And so great. It goes into July, and everyone is now like, if you want to move your collective into the school, great, you can do that. And an hour later than that, a class of 26 guy and his lawyers are going to sue, saying, how did this get ratified for me? How does this apply to us? Right, for the future, to make amends for the past. And we didn't have the thing. So, like, I sort of feel like the CBA has to happen, or else Congress can make laws, but courts still can intervene, right? CBA, at least you have a chance of having like two paths to go on. Like, I think you have to try to go down both paths until one is resolved, or else we're just going to be in this same merry-go-wheel of hell.
Let me read this not super chat, but comment from Stormy Cyclone. I think he's got it down. Thank you, Stormy. Appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do for us. And the dog says yes too. And I thought this was going to be a quiet Friday night before the big game. Holy smokes, the offseason is going to be a mess.
Holy smokes.
Take out mess and say it's going to be awesome, because I'm looking forward to it. And thank you so much, Stormy, for.
Greg was right. We are on the precipice of a potential disaster. Notre Dame could win the national championship.
Yeah, so let's get.
And there would be no greater national tragedy
all right,
than Notre
Greg,
Dame winning the national championship.
8.5 points. Who you taking, Greg Flugar?
I haven't made my decision yet.
Oh, come on.
I haven't. I'm still.
Right.
It looks like my camera was unplugged.
Yeah, it just went out for a second.
I don't know what's going on.
We like seeing you.
I don't know what's going on.
You haven't decided. Okay, Rock and Rant, we know your formal pick was, because Moen already showed it, but what's your thinking behind your pick?
Still praying for a blackout. And I went back and forth between the transitive theory of 1988, which is Moen's injection into my brain of like, I'd rather have Notre Dame with the national championship later. There are a lot of my fandom in the world that every Miami fan hates both options. But a lot of people are like, hey, let them win, because that way, because Miami and Notre Dame kick off next season. But I just don't think that Notre Dame can keep up with Ohio State. If they score on the first drive, I might get a little bit more like, okay, this might be a game if they keep it close in the first quarter. But I still think it's going to be like a 31-17, 31-21 game for Ohio State. I think they're going to cover.
Yeah, I think all of us played against the spread. I think we all think they cover. Do you give them any chance in hell to even make this a one possession game?
Yeah, I do give him a chance in hell to do it. Like, I don't think that Riley Leonard's a very good quarterback, but I think he's got a lot of moxie and has a thing that helps them win. And Notre Dame's defense is pretty good. Like, I didn't think that Jeremiah Smith could be locked down, and he was, right.
Yep.
And I think Notre Dame's defense is better than Texas's defense, and especially in the trenches on the bully side of the ball. So I don't think it's out of the question. I would be surprised, not shocked, if it comes up, but they have to keep it close. I don't think they're going to get these, hey, look what happened on both sides of the half of, Georgia and Texas, and look at the momentum swing thing. I just don't think there's 3 of those in a row where things change pretty quickly and in their favor kind of thing. So
I think it's a very fair assessment. Shonsky, good to see you, Shonsky. Thanks for being here tonight. If a player in the playoffs playing for a natty and wants to transfer, I don't think I want him on my team anyways. So tonight we haven't had a chance to talk about it, but going forward, what we're talking about with all this mobility and chasing the bag and everybody getting paid what they want, culture is going to become more and more important. And I think that's something that your organization has to, well, let's look at Oregon. They're still building a culture, right? They're a brand. They have value. But do they have a winning culture? Well, I think we just saw what Ohio State did to a team that I don't think does. I don't know. I think that's a larger conversation way down the road. But I agree with you. I wouldn't want somebody on my team that's just there for the ones and zeros.
Listen, I will say this. You can't ever count anybody out who made it to the national championship game. I remember a scrappy team going up against a Goliath that they had no chance against in 2003. And that team ended up pulling off what was considered at the time one of the upsets of the century. So
that's true. Well, it was a new century.
It was a new century. Fair enough. New century. But yeah.
It can be done. I think culture is just really, really big. And anyway, I am burned out. Rock, you came in late. Any last words before we get out of here tonight on a late Friday show?
As I said the other night with my show with Flaw, I'm just super looking forward to the conspiracy theorists the day right after the game's over if Notre Dame loses, with message board geniuses posting up how it was all a conspiracy with their coach being an Ohio State plant to just rip their hearts out.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
That's new
deep state stuff. I have not heard that.
Tell me you don't think that's going to be on message board geniuses on Tuesday
boy.
morning if Notre Dame loses.
How is
Depends
that
on how
a
bad they
storyline when they're down? They're not even they're getting 8.5 points. I don't see how that storyline holds any water.
You do a YouTube channel on college football for the last few years. How do you not see that?
I just don't. I don't know. It makes no sense to me, but I guess that doesn't mean anything. All right. Last words, Moen.
Go Bucks. Beat the Irish. Hopefully have a good championship game. And myself and Rock will see you on Sunday.
Yes.
For Moen After Dark. We will be freewheeling it. You guys give us your questions and comments. We will read them out. We will answer some of them. We will tell some jokes. We will have some drinks. We will form conspiracy theories. We will debunk some conspiracy theories. And we'll create some conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Should be
Spread
fun.
some good rumors. I don't have anything really to add except for I just want to run this one more time. This is college football, everybody. This is college football. This is what's happening to college athletics right now, is that F40 endoing and ruining what was a piece of art. What a sad story.
I feel like that's a wipeout
of
of Gone in 60 Seconds and the extra footage we never saw.
Yeah, no, that happened today, actually.
Wow.
It was the longest surviving F40, had the most miles, and really had become a work of art. And
why are you driving it?
I'm dead serious. That's what it is.
He was taking it to Jay Leno's garage.
Yeah, he was doing something like, you'll have to go. I posted the link here. I'll post the link again so everybody can see it. And in the mighty words, I'm going to paraphrase of what's his name? Hunter. Who am I talking about?
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No. We just did the short on, money, $10 million.
Oh, Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter, thank you. Mighty words of Travis Hunter, not really, but paraphrasing. I want my $10 million.
Listen,
I'm
I'm
going to
telling you
stay in
guys,
college football for my $10 million.
there is no way that man got $10 million. Carson Beck did not get
Beck
paid
getting
$10
$10
million.
million is
No,
absolute craziness.
no.
Did you hear that short really quick, Rock? Did you hear that?
Yeah,
earlier?
I mean, people are misreading it. Not saying that you guys are, but like it's over the last 12 months, right? Including whatever he might be getting. It's not from
I know.
Miami.
Carson Beck, though, I mean, yeesh.
You know what? We all have a
Yeah.
little bit of short-term memory. Before this season, heading in, he was the number one Heisman candidate on the board heading in from the quarterback perspective. Like so,
Carson Beck was? I thought
absolutely
Cam
he was.
was. And
No,
Shedeur.
well, he was in there,
No.
but he was predicted to be the number one pick in the draft before the season on a lot of draft boards.
Yikes.
So if you think of
I
it in
did
that
not see
context,
that
not
shit.
in the hey, he had Mike Bobo as his offensive coordinator
Right.
and receivers that dropped everything zone.
Well,
You know,
throw
like
3 interceptions a game. Yeah, it helps, you know.
And let's
Okay.
be fair to Carson Beck. He deserves
don't
$10
want
million because every time he gets pulled over, he gets a DUI test.
plus he probably needs that amount of money to keep up with his girlfriend, who I think probably makes
All
more than
right,
that.
all right. That's enough. We'll end it there. Appreciate everything you guys do for us. Thanks for being here with us tonight. It's been a great show. Special thanks to Greg Flugar, peek around the corner, coming in here and giving us his wisdom. We appreciate all that time he spent with us. That was a great special effect. Thanks, Moen, for setting that up. Rock, thanks for joining us late and giving us some contribution. And, of
Sure.
course, the Wild Ute, who had to take off family commitments, always first here at the College Football Mafia Network. We appreciate everybody that spent time with us, everybody on X. If you want to be kind, jump over to YouTube, click the link, jump over, find us on College Football Mafia Network. Big 12 Mafia, you can find us there, all the same channel, and subscribe if you want to. We really are trying to build up a subscriber base. That would help us quite a bit. I know it's a few extra clicks, but we would appreciate it. Give us some thumbs up. Let us know how we did. Leave us some comments, questions, and everything else. Everybody have a great weekend. I won't see you until after the championship, so everybody be safe. Moen, please be safe. I know you're driving to you're driving to Ohio State, right, to watch a game?
Yeah, I'm going to drive up to campus, I think.
Okay.
But I have friends in the vicinity, so I will not be.
Okay.
What you saw with that car will not be happening to my
I
car.
don't want to hear it.
Although my car is not nearly worth as much as that car is.
All right. Well, yeah, that was unreal. Everybody else have a great night. Stay out of trouble. Catch these guys Sunday night at what time?
Sunday at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Eastern
right
Standard.
here on this same channel, same time, same channel. Everybody else, stay out of trouble. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.